Hello, everyone. Hello, dreamers. My name is Indigo Dream, and welcome to DPR Dream Podcast Radio, the podcast show where we share our thoughts on topics of interest and express ourselves and our personal views of goals in a friendly and understanding way. Hello, everyone. Welcome again. I'm very excited to be doing this. This is the very first, the pilot episode of Dream Podcast Radio, the podcast show where I essentially go about trying to figure out how life works, not just for myself, but for those around me, those who may be joining me in future episodes. I had actually originally thought I was going to make today's first episode a sort of guest join by a friend of mine, but I actually thought, because this is a very personal project, I wanted to make the first time it's aired ever kind of a solo run, kind of get the message out there, the idea of the podcast, what the podcast is going to be about, essentially the mission that we have on hand, and that is the point of Dream Podcast Radio is, in my personal opinion, how would I word this? My goal for this podcast is to gain a level of understanding of how life works, essentially, whether it be by comparing relatable stories with someone or just outright sharing experiences that I've had in my own life where some dreamers out there can relate themselves. Essentially gaining a level of understanding where I can view eyes not just through my own. I've lived life, I know how my life works, but sometimes I'm always curious about how other people's lives are. How someone else goes through something that I've gone through, how do they go through it? And that's my mission. My mission is to go about seeing how people go through their lives with subjects that everyone goes through. You know, whether it be family matters, personal goals, personal ambitions. That's what I want to set out to do. And that's why we are here today, to announce the first goal, to announce all the goals, really, to announce the first episode and the purpose, the blood behind DPR, and why we do what we do. In the future, I do hope to be joined by friends to make joint podcasts where I embark personal journeys of self-understanding and how I can relate my aspects of my own life and perspectives, opinions, ideas, beliefs to others while learning how they do the exact same thing. In the future, I hope to set many episodes out and just learn so much that I can, stuff that I haven't thought about, whether it be, how a person deals with, I don't know, a loss in the family, or just anything that I have gone through or someone else has gone through, and just get their take on it and just get into the mindset of other people. And hopefully, as the podcast grows, just essentially spreading the word, spreading the message on how we all can relate on a certain thing and how we can all be united under the same aspect of how we cope, how we deal, how we think, how we feel about many things that everyone goes through. So I hope you stick around, and I hope you join me in the future for later episodes of the podcast, because I do personally believe that this is going to be a very important podcast. Perhaps we can find ways to help somebody deal with situations that they may be going through. Expressing themselves might be not the easiest thing that they can do, so I'm hoping that I'm able to help them, and maybe I would love it if they can help me as well, especially with obtaining knowledge with how life works, because I, like myself, don't really all have it figured out. I don't have it all figured out. I act a certain way, but truth be told, there's always something to learn about life. There is always something that can be attained through speaking with someone else. Because when you really think about it, you live life through your own. You don't live somebody else's life. You don't really go through the things that somebody else's might go through. So, talking with somebody else and just seeing the world through someone else's eyes, walking a mile in their shoes, as one might say, is, I think, one of the best ways to just understand someone and know that sometimes you really are not alone. It may feel that way sometimes, but that's never really the case, is it? That's never really the case. We all go through things, and sometimes we meet each other at a crossroads, and that is where I reside. That is the point of the podcast. This podcast, Dream Podcast Radio, is the crossroads of our minds. So stick around. The first pilot episode that I'm going to be doing, which is this one, obviously, is to essentially introduce myself and essentially set the goal as to the purpose of this podcast, why this podcast exists. And one thing that I'm going to share with you to kind of set the feel is my own personal goals, my own personal ambitions with my life, and things that I'm wanting to do in the future that some people might be able to relate to, some people might be able to understand. For those out there who are listening, for those who know me, some of my personal goals are pretty ambitious, are pretty out there, but I feel like I have developed a level of determination through many hardships in life where I think I'm a little too tough to give up on them. Especially when you live as long as you do and you go through as much as you go through, and you wake up every day, you go to sleep every night with goals that are too powerful for you to think of anything else that you'd want to do with your life. You kind of hold on to that. You hold on to it with every breath. You never want to let it go until you're able to make it come true. You work hard, you stay determined, you keep believing in yourself as much as you possibly can, and sometimes there are doubts. There are doubts. Everyone has doubts in their lives. That's something we can all relate to. I don't think there is a single person alive who remains undoubting of themselves, their personal choices, the path that they have chosen in life. There are people that overcome them, absolutely. Everyone can overcome them. But the fact is, the doubts still exist. The doubts still come in at some point in time in your life, and you start to question yourself, can I do this? Am I capable of achieving this goal? Am I capable of doing the things that I'm wanting to do with my life? And that's something that I hope to answer with. That's a question that I hope to answer with this podcast for anyone who may be joining me, anyone who may be tuning in, all you dreamers out there. And the answer to that question is a very simple yes. Yes. Very simple. And you might have heard it, several times in your life. You may have told yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror, like, you can do this. Your parents may have said, you can do this. Your friends, your family, your teachers, your counselor, whoever. But take it from me, from a guy who has lived so far a lifetime of nothing but doubting. You can achieve the goals that you're wanting to with your life. You can obtain the joy and the happiness of the ambitions and ideals that you're trying to set for yourself. You can. I'm currently doing one right this very moment. It's always been a dream of mine to start a podcast talking about this kind of stuff. And here I am releasing the very first pilot episode. And I'm very proud of myself. This is something that I've been trying to do for a very long time because I feel like it's too powerful of a message to stay on paper. It's too important to me to stay as an idea. It had to become a reality because there are people out in the world who just really need to hear this. Who just really need to hear the kinds of things that I have to say. I feel like I'm one of the most relatable people on the planet. That might be a little over sumptuous, maybe a little conceited, but I'm being honest. I'm being so honest. People have gone through so many things in their life that I also have gone through that I can also give a take on. And I'm hoping that the things that I have to say either today or in the future can give some kind of ledge for people who are trying to climb. Just even the smallest rock that they can get a good grip on to help them keep going upwards, to reach the peak that they are trying to get to. Some of my personal goals, and to carry on with what I was trying to say, for people out there who are listening, if you have goals set for your life, if there is something that you're really wanting to do, do not let life, the very thing that is giving you the opportunity to stop you. For example, one of my biggest goals in life is, and I say one, one of my biggest goals in life is to become a world-class actor. And not just a Hollywood grade actor. I don't really care for Hollywood mainstream actors. They're kind of fake. And forgive me when I'm saying that for people who are very big on Hollywood actors. They're fine. They're good actors. Amazing people. But the kind of actor that I'm trying to become is something a little different than what you might see in the big screen. The kind of actor that I'm trying to become is someone who, when you're in a moment in your life, maybe you're having a crisis, maybe you just had a shit day at work, who knows, maybe it's just not 100% of a day. You tune into TV, your telephone, your tablet, whatever you're taking media on, and you think to yourself, I wonder what Indigo made today. I wonder what he's doing right now. Let's tune in. I wish to be an actor that people can look at when they're having moments in their life that if they truly, utterly believe that they cannot take the step forward, if they cannot take the leap, they can see that I'm already there. And I am asking you to join me. The reason I say that is because for a very long time, I truly, honestly believed for a very long time that I would surmount to absolute nothing. That I wouldn't make it to the wherever path that I'm trying to get to. The end goals are just a fantasy. They're just a dream. They're nothing. I would never make it. That's the goal. To make the impossible possible. To be the person that I told myself that I couldn't be. I can go through an entire lifetime being told by others that I won't be able to do it, and that's nothing. But to doubt yourself is probably one of the greatest setbacks a person can do in their life. You can go day by day, week by week, month by years, being told that you will grow up to be nothing. You won't be able to do this. You won't be able to do that. And you won't give a shit. You won't really care. But the moment you wake up and you look at yourself in the mirror and say all those things yourself to you, that is the space that I will reside. That is the space that I will stand and tell you wrong. Because you can live your entire life being told by the world that you can't do the thing that you set out to do, but I wish to be the person to say otherwise. Because in that moment, if I'm in that position standing there telling you no, that is because I've reached the position in my life where I am the single most relatable person on the planet, because I started out there as well. I started out in that exact position where I thought, I can't do this. I don't have what it takes. I'm not capable. Everyone says this, everyone says that, but here I am. Here I am anyway. I have achieved the goals that I wanted to set out to do. I made my dreams a reality. I have been there. And if I can do it, you can do it. If a guy like me, a total screw up for a good majority of his life, not trying to brag, but I've been kind of a screw up for a long time. If a guy like me can do it, there's nothing that you can't do. And I'm not trying to make it sound, like I've been the worst. That's not the point that I'm trying to make, but you get the idea. If someone like me who has been through enough stuff to be beaten down, be brought to my knees, have dirt kicked in my face, be able to achieve the goals that I set out for myself, then what makes you any different? What makes you believe that you won't be able to do so as well? That's the point that I'm trying to get across. That's one of my biggest goals in life, is to be the person that I really wanted to be. The person that I'm trying to be the most is essentially a hero to those like me, a beacon to those just like me, whose life hasn't been absolute perfection, who's always been kind of crawling their entire life with chains strapped to their back. I hope to be the person to help relieve those chains. I hope to be the person that started walking so everyone else could run. And then just continue. There is no stopping. There is no end goal after that. It's just you keep going. You keep making the most out of your life. There's always another mountain. So once you're done climbing this one, climb the other one. There's always a higher peak, but once you've passed the first one, that second peak is so much easier. Never stop. Never settle for less for yourself. Keep holding yourself to higher standards each and every time you achieve the greatness that you set out to do. Because guess what? You can be even greater. Every day that passes, you are given an opportunity to make your dreams into a reality. And every day that passes, those realities take one step closer to you. As long as you're able to stay determined, stay true to your beliefs. How would I say this? If you truly believed that what you set out to do in your life was great, you wouldn't doubt yourself. You would never doubt yourself. I have been beaten down, and I have doubted myself several times, but I never really gave up about it. I believed to myself, and I truly do mean this, I truly believed that my goals were far too important. Because I always said to myself, no one should have to go through these things. No one should have to go through these things. So I wish to be the person to show that I see you, I know exactly what you're going through. Join me where I am. Because you don't need to be there. Another one of my personal goals in life, another one of my ambitions, and this is kind of currently relatable, is to be a voice actor for almost the same exact reason. Because voice acting in this day and age can be viewed as many things. just the voice of a character that was created by someone else. There is a reason why I wish to do these things. Um, at this moment in time, I am friends with many artists. Many artists. I myself have no art skills whatsoever, but I know an entire pantheon of very talented, very skillful, very kind, very good people who have spent a lot of time honing and perfecting their artistic creativity. And one of the reasons why I wish to become a voice actor is in case if one of them ever does indeed branch out to start animations, who knows? Who knows? One of their goals could be to become one of the next big web series developers. And that's a goal that I hope to be around for. I certainly do hope that somebody, some friends of mine, some close friends, some good people that I know and believe in can truly I'm losing my words here. I apologize. When it comes to artistic creativity, there's always more. There's always more. Once you find your rhythm, once you find your groove and you stick to it, you just go deeper into that groove until it is absolute perfection, your very own creation of masterpiece. And I'm hoping that one day I'm able to be around those people who are able to get that deep of a groove and just work for them to help create even more masterpieces in their lives. And I'm hoping it's one of my personal goals to be able to be the guy that they turn to and say, hey, can you do this for me? You got it. You worked hard for this. I'll do anything. One of the starting reasons that I had hoped to become a voice actor is actually a rather silly one. I think one of the first moments I ever decided that I wish to have become a voice actor was after watching a show. It's a rather old show, and a lot of you dreamers might laugh at me for this. A lot of you dreamers might not even know about this show, but there was a show called Crypto the Superdog, and it was a cartoon animated show about Crypto, Superman's dog, and how he was just an ordinary dog who wasn't even around Superman at the time. Superman was nowhere to be in sight. He was just some other kid's dog, and he had a best friend called Sparky the cat, and it was a really weird show. I think that was one of the first shows that I checked out for some reason that I decided I want to be a voice actor. And I didn't think much of it at the time until later on in life, where more shows kept coming out, more animated shows started coming out, and it just kept cementing itself. Where I'm like, there are so many shows out that people have their eyes on. I wonder what it would be like to voice act for those shows, to be a part of something that grows to be something so big that everyone knows about it. If you were to just go out on the street and mention it, people would start flocking around to have a conversation about it. That's one of the things that I hope to aspire to do. To be one of the people that helped make something so big that everyone has a memory of it. To be acknowledged is one of the secret bigger goals of my life. And I meant to break the ice on that one, but I'll just outright say it now since I've already said it. The acknowledgement of those around me and those who don't even know me, where, you know, whether it's somebody who recognizes the voice or recognizes me personally. You know, I'm walking down the street and somebody across the other side of the street, they're like, oh, it's him. It's him. Hey, I need help with this problem that I've got in my life. Can you give me some advice? Here you go. And the secret reason for that, the personal desire of acknowledgement, is the fact that as when you grow up the way that I have, being told by people that you trust, that you care about, that you love and adore, and are supposed to do the same, being told by those people that you're not really anything, is probably one of the biggest fires to burn down on you. That's really one of the harder hitting ones. You can be told by total strangers and you're not going to care, but being told by somebody close to you is kind of a stab in the back kind of thing. Those are the ones that there are two things that can happen. Two things that can happen in that situation. One, it hurts too much. You dwindle down. Your fire starts to dim and go out. For me, it was the opposite. It was the opposite for me. Being told by certain people that you won't really amount to much fueled me. Because in that moment, I realized I just have more people to prove wrong. And it's going to feel even better to prove this person wrong. The person that I trusted the most. And it's not about the pity. It's not about the I told you so feeling. It's about I'm doing this for me. And you're wrong, by the way. There's a plus. There's a plus to every negative. In this case, it was a double plus. Because not only am I able to prove those people wrong, I'm doing it for myself to begin with. I never did it for those who were close to me. Or, excuse me. I did do it for those who were close to me. But I didn't do it for those who were close to me and doubted me. You know? And that's another point that I would like to take a stab at, no pun intended, is that sometimes you go through life wondering who's on your side. Don't spend time on that too much. Don't spend time on that too much. Because in the end game of that all is, if they wish to be by your side when you reach the peak, then they will be by your side when you reach the peak. If you lose them along the way, don't stop the path. Don't stop the path. Because you've already gone so far. You're not going to turn the van around just because somebody else doesn't want to bring a map. That's not a good analogy now that I said it out loud, but you get the picture. You're going to want to bring a map. Bring a map. You know what? Bring your own map. Let them have a different map. They'll go to wherever their destination is and they'll get lost probably, but at least you know where you're going. So some personal stories that I would like to kind of share with y'all, to kind of solidify the entire message of what I'm trying to do, is when I was a little bit younger than I am now, I was told by this person, when I shared the personal goal of becoming an actor for the way that I wish to be an actor, I was told that it would be pointless because there's no money to be had in there. There's no money in being had in being the type of actor that I chose to be. Which, at the time, didn't make sense to me, and to this day didn't make sense to me, because it's not always about the money, Spider-Man. It's not always about the money. Sure, a lot of people deal with, financial issues, but when you care about something enough, when you want something with your life enough, and maybe money sometimes has an issue with it, is that big enough of a problem for you to give up on it? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Because you can always achieve the finances at some point. At some point. But if you really want something with your life, if you're really wanting to do something, you'd have to really be in the worst situation absolutely imaginable, like apocalypse scenario, where you would have to give up on that. I'm broke, but I never gave up on myself. I never gave up on the dreams that I'm having for myself, and I still don't. No one is in an absolutely perfect setting. No one is ever truly in an absolutely perfect setting. There's always something. But if that something is the sole factor, is the absolutely only reason why you would let your personal goals just outright drop, outright die, consider reevaluating your priorities. Would you choose to be financially stable or miserable? You could be the richest person in the world and have no life goal whatsoever. Is that really a life worth living? Is that something that you would be content with? I'm broke, and I'm very happy with having the dreams and goals that I have set for myself. And I hope to, in the future, bring my friends, my family, everybody that I truly care about with me to those goals. I'm not gonna care about the money, Spider-Man. I don't wake up and look at myself in the mirror and say, you're gonna make money. I wake up and look at myself in the mirror and say, you're gonna make a difference. So we've reached a segment in the podcast where I'm going to be sharing with you guys some plans for the future. The plans for the future of the podcast and what we hope to seek out. Like I said at the very beginning, in the future we will be joined by guests. I will be inviting some people over to essentially have a conversation and get into the life of them, figuring out how they work, figuring out how exactly they view things and how they feel about things. One thing that I will be adding is that the topic that we talk about, the topic that I will be receiving insight from them about, it will be entirely their choice. Entirely their choice. They'll join in. Beforehand, I'll be asking what it is that they're wanting to talk about. And as soon as we start, it's just lay it on me. What's on your mind? What is it that you wish to talk about? And what can you tell me about it? Because this is not necessarily an entertainment podcast. This is an education podcast. Learning about all of life's problems through the eyes of someone else. And seeing what I can learn about that. And as I said before, hopefully with any knowledge that I might already have and any knowledge that they may give me. We'd be able to help some people out there. Whether it's each other, a dreamer tuning into the radio. There's always something to be taken away through conversation with someone else. Because, as I said before, you haven't truly experienced every single problem until you hear about it from somebody else. Same subject at the hand, same exact problem, but different solutions. So I'm hoping to one day in the future just learn all that I can and see what I can do in the future to truly embrace being the person that I'm wishing to be for others. To be Indigo Dream is to be someone that people can look to when they need it the most. That is who I am. Your friendly neighborhood comedian. Your friendly neighborhood, what's that term called? What are those people that they go like at seminars or whatever? Inspirational speaker, I guess. Maybe that's a little cocky for me to say that, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I don't know what else to call it. Your friendly neighborhood podcaster. Your favorite blue boy. I hear a lot of people call me that. Your favorite blue boy. And I accept this. I accept this title with wholehearted affection. And I'm hoping the world will be able to call me that one day. Your favorite blue boy. So, this pilot episode took quite a lot of planning. I've actually been planning this pilot episode for a little over 3 weeks. 3 weeks of planning. Mostly, for obvious reasons, I have never done a podcast before, but that didn't stop me. For future episodes, I'm not sure how there's going to be I don't believe there's going to be a schedule for future podcasts, at least not right this very minute. I would like to create one. That's obviously the smart choice. I don't know dick about doing that though. I'll be absolutely honest with you. I'll figure it out though. I didn't forget to mention, in future podcasts, whenever I'm joined by someone, I will personally be taking notes. I will personally be taking notes of the subject at hand and how much I can take away from that. And I would recommend that the dreamers out there listening would do the same. Especially if it pertains to a subject that you're particularly interested in, that you can relate to, that you might be currently facing. This podcast will primarily, and I say primarily loosely, be on a more serious note. It's mostly going to be touching some pretty good subjects, some pretty hard subjects, some pretty deep subjects. But we will keep it light. We will do our very best to keep it light. We will do our very best to keep it friendly, keep it nice. Trying not to dwell too deeply in something that might be a little too sensitive. Because, some people might not be entirely ready to, face the music. Whether it be subjects of mental health. That's a very big one. But that is something that I hope to talk about in the future as well. I was going to talk about certain things on the matter in this episode, but We will leave it for future episodes. Future episodes will be pertaining either with a guest or by myself. There will be solo episodes, but I believe we can learn most about situations when we hear it through somebody else. But I will also be taking a suggestion box. I will definitely be taking suggestion box because I feel when it comes to talking about something, if that person wants to hear something and they're not joining, I'm very open to voicing my opinion on it. Absolutely. There's nothing I love more than trying to give my absolute best advice to someone who might desperately need to hear it if they don't immediately want to talk about it. That way, it essentially reaches as many people's ears as it can if a lot of people are having the same exact problem, but they don't immediately want to be open about it. Suggestion box. The podcast will be opening. Well, not the podcast. I will be opening a Discord. I actually already have it set up. I just haven't released it to the public yet, and I won't be just yet. The suggestion box will be there. Topic issues, topics of interest will be handled there as well. Essentially, the perfect place to go to hear all that Indigo has to say. And trust me, my friends, I have quite a bit to say. I've been around long enough to, I think I've been around the bend long enough to kind of get a feel of every subject matter, kind of been here and there. I've dabbled. So I have at least one thing to say about pretty much everything. And those things I would love to share with my friends and you fellow dreamers out there listening. When it comes to hard subjects in life, I don't believe there's a better choice to be able to handle them than being with someone who gets you. I don't believe there's a better choice to talk about certain things that might be on your mind than someone who completely understands. There isn't a better choice to talk about something than with a friend. And that's me. Hi, I'm Indigo Dream. You've been listening to Dream Podcast Radio. On a lighter note, on a more fun note, I hope you guys have been enjoying tuning in. I hope some things that I've been kind of saying for the past almost hour have been kind of cementing digging a little hole in your heart to carry me with you forever. Essentially, knowing that someone out there in the world gets what you're going through, has some tangible knowledge of everyone's situation, of everyone's problem, knowing that someone like that is out there, I hope that's able to put you at ease. I hope that's able to give you some kind of relief. Because if there's one thing I'm good at, it's being there for people. And I hope that in the future, when people have a better understanding of the type of person that I am, the things that I've gone through, they're more open themselves. They're more open themselves. They're more readily able to talk about whatever it is that they might be dealing with, and just expressing themselves. Getting your voice out there is one of the most important things to do. Letting your voice be heard. And if you don't think that you're capable to do that, then I will be your voice. That's who Indigo Dream is, baby. The voice of the voiceless. I hope you're able to take today's podcast with you as you go on your journey in life and just really think about the things that matter to you, things that are important to you in life, and just how important they are to really establish how you feel, how you think every day. Hopefully, you're able to wake up tomorrow with at least a light on, to view things a little differently. Don't wake up and look at yourself in the mirror and go, just another day. Wake up and look at yourself in the mirror and says, let's make today different. And then do the exact same thing tomorrow. into existence is huge. Huge for me. And I just want to thank you all. I want to thank you all. Thank you, dreamers out there, for tuning in and listening to Dream Podcast Radio. I will be wrapping it up here. Keep what you've learned today. Keep what you've learned today. Carry it with you. And look forward to the next time. Because there's so much in life that we have to learn. And I'm hoping you're there to learn with me. With that, we shall wrap up. Thank you all for tuning in, dreamers. I've been your host, Indigo Dream. And I will see you in the next Dream Podcast Radio. Tell them how much of a mistake that was.